Welcome back to another video. In this video, we are going to go over extra confirmations and see what confirmations we should look for when we are unsure whether to take a trade or not. But before we get into it, make sure to subscribe and hit that like button. So before we begin going over the extra confirmations and the example I'm going to go over, let's start off with a breakdown of the trade setup that came about yesterday. So this was on the 15th of March. So when we came to the charts on the 15-minute time frame, here we have an Asian session. What I want you to notice is price rallied during the Asian session and left quite a big imbalance open. Now, the majority of this trade, or the reasoning behind this trade, is because of this imbalance over here. Okay, so as we can see, price has rallied up on the 30-minute, but on the 15-minute it hasn't showed that, and that's just something that is very annoying with TradingView. Okay, so we come to the charts, and the first thing I want to do is I want to look for POIs above and below the Asian range. So we have this one here on the 15-minute time frame that I marked out yesterday, and below it we have, we have these demand zones. So we have a demand zone here, we have one here, but we're basically looking for something with a imbalance, and we can see an imbalance here quite clearly. So let's just mark out this one over here. The whole reasoning behind this trade is we want price to fill this imbalance over here, or this imbalance over here, or this one over here, as we can see an imbalance there. So if I just mark out those imbalances very quickly, so now let's see what price does. So as we can see, price absolutely rallies up to the upside over here and taps into our POI. What we're looking for is, right, so price has come, filled this imbalance to the left over here, and we're expecting price to come back and fill this imbalance and then possibly this imbalance as well. Now that's what we're looking for in terms of our trade idea. So price to come into our POI, give us a reaction, give us a confirmation, and then we can take this short with an idea that price is going to come and fill this imbalance and then this imbalance. So let's zoom in and have a look at what price is doing at our POI. So again, what we want price to do is to print a entry draw for us, so something like this, well, textbook like this, but something that gives us confidence to take a short in. Let's see what price actually does. So as we can see, price pulls up, pulls down, pulls up, doesn't break this high as we would in an entry draw, and then create some sort of a bullish order flow before breaking to the downside. So we actually do get some sort of breaker structure over here, but because we didn't break the high, I wasn't very confident. And so when we're unsure about whether to take a trade or not, we have to wait for an extra confirmation. And these extra confirmations come in terms of an extra breaker structure. So tell me that you're going to go to the downside, but tell me twice, not just once. So what we're waiting for here is price to come back up and then break this structural low. So there's a structural low put in place. Now I just want this one to be broken again one more time. So we're waiting for this to happen before we can take another trade. And we can see it took a while, and while I was watching this pair, I was a bit unsure, but we can see that it came through, and now I am a lot more confident in taking a short trade. So now what I'm going to be doing is, while price is moving to the downside, is looking for order blocks to take a trade from. Very clearly, I can see we have this order block over here. And the next thing I've got to check is, are we efficient? So as we can see, we actually have something over here as well. Okay, so that's one order block. But if you wanted to take an aggressive entry, you probably would have taken it from this point here. But because we're looking for an extra confirmation, we're going to mark out this one. And as we can see, all price action here is quite efficient. So there's not really an order block in here that we want to take a trade from. So now all we have to do is wait for price to come back into this order block, and then we can take some shorts. And as we can see, price rallies up and then taps into our order block very nicely. So from this point here is where we will take our short position with stops just above this order block here. So let's go to about 4 pips or 4.1, adding 0.5 pips as breathing room. And just before I detail this trade, let's just put it down to the Asia session low. So that's what I was targeting anyway with this trade. I want to make you aware of, look at how price creates some liquidity before moving to the downside. Now anyways, that was our confirmation when we were very unsure about this trade, to give us a lot more confidence in taking this trade. Now as we can see, price continues to the downside, and we actually get another breaker structure. So let's say you wasn't convinced by this breaker structure because it took a long while, and price started to print smaller candles and it didn't look very impulsive enough for you. But if we look at this right now, what we can see is price has broken structure one more time, and if we get a return to this extreme OB over here, we could actually take another short position, or a short position if you didn't take this one here. So let's wait and see what happens. Price taps in very nicely. We can enter this trade over here. So let me just put my stops just above. So let's just go 8 pips just because we can, and let's see what happens. And as we can see, price just rallies down and it completes our trade very nicely. So when it comes to taking a trade, sometimes you're not going to get the textbook entry drill that we look for all the time in terms of this. When we don't get this, what we can look for is extra confirmations. This would have been an extra confirmation, and then we get another one as well, which gives us 2 opportunities to get into this trade and get a very nice trade at the end of it. As we can see, this one would have netted you a 16.2R, and this one would have given you a 7.4R, which is absolutely fantastic. If you are taking trades like this and you get into, you know, maybe this position or this position here, you get scaling opportunities as well. So these types of trades can be called scaling opportunities, but we can also view them as extra confirmations to taking a trade when you know or have a good reason to believe price is moving or is to move in a certain direction. And that's it for today's video. Make sure to subscribe, give this video a like, and I'll see you in the next one.